Hi, what's up? I'm Channel Pup, the mascot for the level-headed fanboy. Welcome to a filler video, as I am working on a retrospective for the Japanese Spider-Man series, which requires me to watch the entire show. Because it's an ongoing story spanning 40 episodes, gotta watch all of it. But I figured, while I work on that, I can show you my action figures. And the ones we'll be looking at today are my Sonic action figures, which are mainly by Jakk Pacific. Now, these are great little collectibles. I've been quite vocal about how a lot of kids' toys these days just seem kind of half-assed. And I get it, because kids these days are a bit more interested in video games and apps and digital stuff. But still, it's nice to have toys on the mass market that are available. And it's gotta be said, I think Jakk Pacific are really delivering in the quality department, but they're not breaking the bank either. You can get some really nice high-quality Sonic action figures for £10. You can convert that into dollars, I don't want to. So today, we're gonna take a look at my collection. And hey, maybe you can decide if you wanna pick some of these up yourself.
Mamma mia, you made it this far into the video and you still haven't subscribed? What in the name of spaghetti and meatballs is this all about?
Hey, f*** you, boy, why you not subscribe to the channel, Pup, yeah? And click at the link in the Patreon in the description below, or I'll f***ing kill you, boy. Don't f***ing test me.
That's a unspicy meatball.
Yes, it is.
Alright, sorry, one more thing before we go into the main video. Real sorry about this. When I recorded my audio for this, I used an external sound recorder because it's all done with camera stuff. Different to my usual process, and I didn't set up the sound recorder properly, and it did not match the acoustics of the room, and it sounds like garbage. I tried everything to clean it up, but it was like nearly an hour's worth of audio, and it was just unusable. So, as a last resort, I ran it through Adobe's AI audio enhancer, which just kind of combs through the issues and tries to kind of reconstruct the audio. And hey, it's usable, but it's given me a slightly different accent. I actually think I sound way more suave. But you know what? It's usable, you know? So, yeah, I'm gonna sound a little uncanny in this video from here on, but hey, we're gonna lend it over to human hands now to show you the Sonic action figures, because you've waited long enough.
So starting us off, we have Chili Dog Sonic, and he is in the 2-inch scale. Now, I don't generally buy the 2-inch scale Sonic figures. I am much more inclined towards the 4-inch scale Sonic figures, but I had to pick this guy up just because of this little Chili Dog hit. But for a 2-inch scale figure, he's really not bad. He's got articulation in, like, his arm and stuff. It can move outwards and it can move up and down. Same goes for this other arm here, so packing a fair bit of articulation in for a 2-inch scale figure. Head rotates, legs up and down, and he stands well too. Yeah, this little Chili Dog is nice and detailed with, you know, all that chili on there, or it could just be shit diarrhea. But it's a solid little start, you know? I figured I'd start us off with a classic Sonic because this is the fella who started it all, and I guess, you know, given that classic Sonic has never actually eaten a Chili Dog in the games, you could call this a bit of Sat AM or Adventure Sonic the Hedgehog referencing maybe, because, you know, it was in Western canon that he ate chili dogs, which, you know, he wouldn't do until Sonic Unleashed. So, yeah, starting off fairly strong. Nice 2-inch scale Sonic. All the paint apps are done really nicely, even down to his little teeth there. Yeah, good stuff. Who's next? What would Sonic be without his arch nemesis, Dr. Robotnik, or Eggman, depending on your preference? And yeah, so this one is also in the 2-inch scale. And he does look pretty good. Once again, they've packed in quite a bit of detail for a 2-inch scale figure. Articulation-wise, very basic. His head does rotate. It's not actually limited by the moustache like I worried it would be. But like, even down to a little detail like his little teeth there. Really good stuff. I like the shine on his glasses. And this Eggman here is designed to be seated. And the reason being is because he doesn't just retail by himself. He comes in a pack. And in that pack, you get his... you get his Eggomatic machine. There we go, we get a fairly decent look at that. Let's get that camera focused right there. And he can be placed just in here. There, how well can we see that? Can we... Actually looks kind of imposing. Yeah, let's straighten you out, Eggy. There you go. Now, this here is, in my opinion, kind of everything a kid's toy should be. Not only do you get this really kick-ass Eggmobile right here, which Eggman can actually sit in, you also get this base. And it kind of has that look of like sort of the Scrap Brain Zone's platforming, but it can also tilt backwards and forwards, left and right, so you can have like a tilting Eggman kind of on the attack, you know? Yeah, but again, this is a pack. This is not all that you get in this pack. Right, screw it, we're migrating so we can actually show this guy off with his accessories proper. So yeah, you get all this extra stuff. So you can basically mix and match your favorite Dr. Eggman contraptions, which is great. So, we're going to take a look at some of these. So in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, the Eggmobile or Eggomatic, depending on your territory, took on much more of a sort of a helicopter-y look. And yeah, you've got accessories to create that sort of helicopter-y look. Now, if you do want to change the combination, it can be done using this little action feature that comes on the figure. So the idea is you can chuck Sonic into the Eggmobile and then... yeah, it throws all that stuff out, and Eggy there is supposed to come out himself, because he's kind of spring-loaded in there. But, yeah, certain accessories don't come off. For example, this here, but you can just as easily just take that off like so. And, yeah, then you've just got your classic Sonic 1 Eggmobile, so then you can take, say, this swinging wrecking ball here, and then just stuff that on there, and then you've got yourself the very first boss of Sonic 1. Let's just move this back here. Oop, focusing in. Yeah, then you've got yourself the very first boss of Sonic 1. And how cool is that? This has to be one of the coolest Sonic toys. You can virtually make any Eggman contraption from the classic games using this. I mean, okay, save for a few, but still, it's a great little set. Here we got him as the drill boss from, I think it was Mystic Cave. And yeah, that looks really great. You can pop these off, and you can take these fire attachments as well, and go for, say, like a little jetpack thingy. Great, I'm doing a brilliant job demonstrating this. Come on. There we go. So they go in basically straight on, like so. And then, yeah. So then you've got that. You can also put this little fire shooty thing on the bottom there. That's come off. Good job, pup. But yeah, there's just a lot of different combinations that can be made with this figure. You can even, you know, add that to it on the front if you wanted to, but why would you do that? Yeah, just a great little set. Now, the Dr. Eggman playset does come with his prickly pal Sonic, and you might have noticed something a little familiar about this figure here. This is, I'm pretty sure, a scan, or maybe like a 3D print or something, of the Sonic Forces classic Sonic render, because in the exact pose he's got the same facial expression, and I guess it is suitable having an angry, mean-looking Sonic come with a Dr. Robotnik playset. Once again though, he's in the 2.5-inch scale, I think, and he's pretty nicely articulated, it has to be said. It also needs to be said that I do think these 2-inch scale Sonics scale up much better with their modern counterparts than the 4-inch scale classic Sonic. I think that is about the size difference between the two in, say, Sonic Generations or Sonic Forces. So yeah, I'm pretty impressed with this little guy here. Next up, we got another villain, this time from Sonic CD. We have Metal Sonic, or Mecha Sonic if you are Archie Comics and you still haven't figured out the name of this character yet. And yeah, this is another fantastic figure, but one thing I noticed about this guy is that he does actually have bendy elbows, unlike the ones before, and he's got ball-jointed hands, which is, again, really sweet. His shoes, look at the detail on his shoes. This is a 10 quid figure right here, and he's got detail on his shoes. That is awesome. His arms don't come out at all like the other ones, but they do at least, you know, move the way you'd want them to. You can rotate his his bicep and stuff like that. You know, he's quite a tough boy. You can look at the camera, he's got his nice red eyes, very creepy looking. Turn him around, look at the back, he's got this nice turbine here. A little bit of illegal finagling on the back there. Says Jakk Pacific China on the back there. You got his little head hatch. Bendy legs. Bendy feet. Not bendy feet. They don't have like a wheel joint in the feet, which is funny, because there's literally a sculpted in wheel joint right there. But hey, forget logic. This is the Sonic franchise, you know? Like, we don't do logic here. But I think he looks fantastic. He's great on any shelf, and I think the only thing I'd say is, once again, given that he's a robot, I think some metallic paint would have really complemented this, especially on these... Oh, he can move his arms out. Okay, well, you live and learn. But, yeah, I think especially on, like, these silver parts, a bit of metallic paint would have gone a long way, but still not to be sneezed at. There's a motorcycle outside my window. I'm not sure if you can hear that. So here we have the Death Egg Robot from Sonic 2. This is not the Sonic Generations version, and if you turn him on his side, you can really see that's pretty much exactly the shape the Death Egg Robot, was in Sonic the Hedgehog 2. And this guy has so many different features, it's insane. You can, for one, you can pose and articulate his arms, although they are a little floppy, but you can straighten them out. Again, they do pop out quite easily, but also, just like in the game, you can shoot off his little hands and stuff like that. The head does turn, the legs do pose, these little shoulder flaps do stuff like that too, and the little fire jets on the back can be retracted. So it's like, you know, if you want him in jetpack mode, you can just have them down there like that. But if you don't, you can just retract them like so. It's a great figure, and it looks good on display as well. I do wish that maybe we had some metallic paint going on here. I think that would be the one thing that would make this cooler, but at the same time, it's just a fantastic recreation of that final boss of Sonic 2. However, he's not just designed to look pretty, he also comes with a bit of an action feature in the form of this catapulting Classic Sonic. So we'll take a little look at Classic Sonic himself there. So Classic Sonic is made of this very sort of soft, pliable plastic. His nose very flexible, as are his ears and his legs. He's very squishable. He's a squishable friend. And he comes with this little slingshot thing. So the idea is you load him up in there, and then you want to aim him at the Death Egg Robot. So let's test him. Here we go. Yeah, it's quite difficult to aim for the chest exactly. Half the time he just ends up just popping out of the thing, but yeah. So the idea is that, here, let's grab him there, chuck him at the... I suck at this. Imagine trying filming and doing this at the same time. Even then, it doesn't always just land on top. There we go, we got one, and this little crack appears in his chest, which is awesome. Do it again. Do it again. Just... And once we get him enough, all of his stuff comes off, and it's really cool. Again, what kid wouldn't love this? That's awesome! You've saved the day, Sonic. So now we move over to Sonic the Hedgehog 3 with the Egg Robo action figure. Now, this is a great one. The Egg Robos are basically cannon fodder in Sonic 3 and Knuckles. These are the guys that would hang out around the Sky Sanctuary. Knuckles' arch enemy, the Egg Robo. And once again, a great figure. Nice little deeper dig, to be fair. Like, you wouldn't necessarily expect them to make an Egg Robo figure, but hey, here they are. He comes with his massive gun, which is removable from the hand, but I'm not going to bother because it's a pain in the ass to get it back in there. He's got a rotating head, which is kind of cool. The eyes are a little rubbery, but I think they do move up and down just a little. But yeah, articulation is great. I guess, once again, it's just some metallic paint would go a long way, especially on these grey sections here. And maybe if there was like a sculpted groove in there, as this is all just printed on. But still, it's a really cool figure. He's got his little Egg Robo jetpack, so he can off to his home planet. Yeah, he's a good figure, this one. He's a good Egg Robo. You've messed with me for the last time, viewer. Okay, that's enough of that. Yeah, he stands well too. He's very sturdy, considering he's got this fuck-off massive ray gun here. And I remember how annoying these things are in Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Like, you make your way up to the top layer of the Sky Sanctuary just to be shot off by one of these bastards. Sonic 3 and Knuckles, what a great game, though, you know? Like, what a great game. It's still, you know, it's not immune to the classic Sonic BS that you get, but still, what a great game. The classic era is now over. We are on to the modern Sonic now. And, yeah, he's been really nicely brought to life here. And it's surprising how well he stands, all things considered. You have to have him in sort of this leaning forward pose in order to get him to stand. I've been saying this for ages. I think Sega really need to reduce the head size of the Sonic characters, as well as the size of the hands. Makes them easy to animate, but would also make them quite a bit easier to stand up as well. But as it stands, and he does stand quite nicely, it's a good looking figure. You can see he's got his little mouthy mouth right there, his little nosy nose. This is the long quill Sonic, so yeah, if you hate this shorter quilled modern Sonic, you're in luck, because this is more sort of the Unleashed Generations era sort of Sonic design. It's got opposable arms, they come out that much, and he's got ball-jointed hands, which is really nice, you know. No sort of elbow joints or anything like that, but he does have knees, and they do swivel as well and rotate, and they feel very fragile, and again, he's quite difficult to stand up. You really gotta have him in sort of a leaning position. Dude's gotta look like he's ready to go, but that's not too bad. That's a very on-brand sort of Sonic-y pose right there. It's a nice dark shade of blue as well. This is not like a Forces Sonic. This is not like a Forces Sonic where they sort of went for a more pale blue. You got the little shine in his eyes there and the green of the eyes. And yeah, just everything about him is really nicely done. He's even got his little shoe treads in there. Yeah, it's a really nice figure. You can get him in all kinds of little poses. It's one of those things where it's good that they've kind of made the arms as they are, as it does mean that you can get some variety of sort of action-y poses out of him. You can get a sort of Sonic Adventure crouch position, you know, he's getting ready to... Yeah, it's a giant talking egg! No Sonic impersonations here. We won't be doing that. Yeah, overall, modern Sonic looks great. He's a good figure. Again, he scales well with the 2-inch classic Sonic figure. I do have one of the 4-inch range classic Sonic figures, and I'd love to show you a comparison, but I don't have him with me right now. He's in my little storage place. So, no to the classic Sonic today. But as it is, this guy here fills the shelf spot just nicely. I really wish I had like a Boom Sonic though, you know? It'd be really cool to get a Jakk-specific Boom Sonic to really fill out those collections. But, hey, I think Sega wants to bury Sonic Boom, which is a shame because I like Sonic Boom. But hey-ho, we have the modern Sonic-y Sonic. Well, what would modern Sonic be without his modern arch-nemesis, Dr. Modern Robot Eggman guy? Eggman. Dr. Eggman. And, yeah, this figure looks great. Look at him. He's difficult to stand, though. You have to have him in this sort of leaning back position. Also, his articulation is very sadly hindered. His arms only go down that far, which is a little difficult. But that's because he's clearly intended to be in this Sonic Forces render pose, which is fine by me. He looks good on display. My only issue with him, really, he doesn't scale well with Sonic. Sonic is a gigantic Hedgehog next to Dr. Robotnik. So yeah, not quite in scale, but yeah, it's good enough to kind of represent, you know? Like, he definitely scales better with the 2-inch line. But okay, let's take an actual proper look at him. He's got all of his zippers here, and each little crevice here appears to be painted, I think. And he's got his glasses, his moustache is very ginger this time. He's got his little goggles with the green bits painted on. Again, the detailing in these figures, considering their size, really good. And especially considering that these are cheap value figures as well. These are, again, in the £10 price range. He's even got little teeth sculpted in and painted. That's really cool. This is really solid for the price. And again, ball-jointed hands makes for good articulation. Yeah. I think this is a goddamn good representation of the modern Dr. Robotnik. Or Eggman, as they insist on calling him. His head does not move at all, though. Like, that's not gonna budge. Look at the ear detail. Look at the detail in that ear. It doesn't need to be that good. I think these are just scans of the models from the games. His legs are a little flimsy, all things considered, but he's a good figure. I'm really happy with this. So here we have the first monster that Sonic would fight in Sonic Adventure 1. Chaos, the god of destruction. And let me tell you, I was so excited to have a Chaos action figure, and they've done a wonderful job here. I love this translucent blue material, even though it does unfortunately show off some of the joints in this figure, but he stands really well. He feels really nice. He's very smooth. And I love, how they painted the eyes here. My only real gripe with this one is his tail seems to cut off oddly there. But also, he doesn't have a sculpted-in brain. I was hoping he'd have a little sculpted-in brain, but no, he just has this little bit of very faint pink paint here, which kind of gives off the illusion, so it's better than nothing. I guess my other gripe is he does not scale with Sonic. Chaos would be about 8 foot tall, with Sonic being only like a meter tall, so they don't scale at all. But still, it's nice to have a bit of representation here, and hey, he will go with, like, say, the 2-inch line. He'll look a lot better alongside those guys. I almost feel like it's like, for the heroes, go for the 2-inch line, for the villains, go for the 4-inch line. That way, you get them all in scale with one another. But even so, like, it's just cool to have a figure this nice, this detailed of Chaos, and he's got good articulation as well. He's one of the less flimsy feeling Jakk-specific Sonic figures. Like, there are some where it's like, I feel like I'm gonna break them, and I'm worried about that, but this one here feels very robust. He can also turn his head, but not by very much, simply because he's got these long, I don't know what to call them, tendrils? Yeah. But, again, they brought him to life wonderfully. I think this is probably using the Sonic Forces model here, which only appeared in cutscenes. So we got a little bit more of an interactive version, You can't touch the Sonic Forces cutscenes, can you, So yeah, I think he looks fantastic. I've gone for just the right shade of blue as well. I'm really hoping that they'll also release figures of the Ancients from Sonic Frontiers. That would be awesome, and we could stand them together. That'd be badass. Maybe like a Giganto playset with a Supersonic. That'd be cool. Come on, Jax. They're probably working on it, right? They're working on it. Next up, we have the Sonic character that is most difficult to explain to your non-Sonic fan friends and family. I remember when I was playing Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games 2020, and my sister was in the room, and Rouge rocks up wearing a sports bra and not really much else, and I was like, listen, Sonic games are weird, But, yeah, she comes with these wings here, which you can actually clip on and off really easily, so if you don't want to display her with her wings, come on, there we go. You can remove them. She got a lot of cake in the butt, and they haven't actually been very sparing with the chest either. Like, I didn't know if, like, for the toy release, they'd reduce that. No, they haven't. They are very happy selling this stuff to your kiddos, but hey, what better age to teach young kids that women have boobs, I guess? She's articulated enough, although she doesn't have much in terms of leg articulation, but she can rotate her high heels. She is one that stands a lot easier than others, though, that being said. So I guess that little short stack body can be kind of robust on the ground, I guess. She's got a little tail as well. But they really nicely represented her here. She's got her little lipstick there, although it's not very well lined up with her mouth, but still, it's a little sloppy in places, admittedly, but it is a nice representation of Rouge, and I too like that these wings can flap. My little ADHD brain is enjoying that. Too bad her ears don't flap and her doesn't bounce, because that was kind of what she did in Sonic Adventure 2. This isn't a Sonic Adventure 2 Rouge, this is a kid-friendly Rouge, it seems. What a weird thing, what a weird thing to have in, like, a kid's game is a bat with fucking honkers. What a weird choice. But, hey, I had to get it for the collection, Why not? Ladies, let me tell you what the male experience is all about. There's no women watching this, but heck, we'll say it anyway. When men look in the mirror, this is the man they want to see. Every man wants to be Shadow the Hedgehog. If a guy doesn't want to be Shadow the Hedgehog, he's not a Sonic fan. He doesn't know who Shadow is. But the second they find out who he is, they want to be him. That's Shadow. That's how this guy rolls. And he is nicely represented in action figure form as well, looking very much like a Sonic 06 render in a way. He's got kind of those very Sonic 06-y sort of proportions. He's got these very mean-looking eyes. His kabuki stripes have been painted on very nicely, even down to putting his little airshoe detail on the bottom as well. He's a very nicely made figure. His arms do move and they come out about that much. He's got full jointed hands. His head can actually move the full 360. He's got a little painted mouth. He's got his little grimace right there. And he's just a cool looking figure, you know. He doesn't stand well, because obviously he's very stacked at the back with these quills, and they are made of fairly heavy plastic, so yeah. Sorry, Shadow. But he is the coolest. That, you know, we won't be able to take that away from him. Yeah. Come on, stand. There you go. You can have him looking down. You know, he's looking down, he's pensive, he's thinking about Maria Robotnik and how she's dead. He's thinking about that, so he's very pensive. Cheer up, Shadow. Everything's going to be okay. Dude, I think if I didn't know who this was, I'd still want it, because he just looks really cool. This is E123 Omega, the robot made to guard Shadow the Hedgehog, and he's a very powerful boy. And he looks sick in action figure form. This guy was just made to be an action figure. He's got that little Omega symbol there, or the anti-life equation, depending on how you align as a fan. And he just, look at the detail on this guy. He's got the green lighting in there. He's got, you know, he's got stuff going on. Okay, I drew up a little blank there. But he's also got this nice texture on the red sections. This nice sort of mottled sort of texture. Can he turn his head? He cannot turn his head. I hadn't actually tried that before, but he can move his arms out that much. He can bend, rotate the elbow. He has actually got all jointed hands, if you can believe it, which can rotate, which is pretty insane, all things considered. Look at these. Look at these claws, and how they even painted a different layer, sort of grey in there. This is a 10-quid figure, and it's great. It's really bloody good, especially for the price. The detailing on him is just, oh man. Dude, Omega is a sick figure. What a sick figure you are, Omega. Hey. Fucker looks badass, doesn't he? And here we have, making his debut in Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, Silver. And I have to say, I think of the 3 Hedgehog figures we had here, I think Silver is the nicest. For starters, he's got the nicest proportions. His arms aren't too thin, his chest is nice and thick compared to Sonic and Shadow. He's, I guess, a fatter Hedgehog. Maybe he's a little more plumpy. But our future boy here stands really well too. That might be thanks to the bootsies he's got on here. But even so, yeah, this is a great one. I mean, they're all great, but like this guy is particularly good. I also notice his mouth is black and not red, which I think looks a little better too. He's got his little pot leaf head, and his head can kind of rotate, but it's very restricted by this tuft of chest fur here, so that's a little unfortunate. But his hands, once again, on ball joints, and his arms move out that much, up and down. He can shake it like a Polaroid picture. He's got all of the detail, including these little psychokinesis rings on here. Does he have them on the palms? Yes, he does. Badass. And okay, leg articulation's a little stiff here, but it does work. And you know what? Stiff is good with these guys. You know, I feel flimsy. He feels a bit more robust, you know? He just feels like a more robust figure than Sonic and Shadow do. I'm guessing that maybe because he was probably made later down the line, he's a better quality. I don't know. But yeah, they've even got his little eyeliner in there. They've got the little red nodes on his bootsies and all of the little blue lines in here. Just there's no detail really left undone here. He is made of quite a cheap sort of plastic that does mark quite easy, so I've got a little mark on mine. I don't know how that even happened, but still, yeah, very happy with Silver. I think, as far as the figures of the 3 Hogs go, Silver's the best one. And here we have Infinite. Now, the Sonic Forces, pretty lackluster game, and Infinite was a lackluster villain, only made more lackluster by his stupid backstory that they added in episode Shadow. But I wanted an Infinite for the shelf. I want to represent this guy, because I feel like Infinite has such potential, It's a great design. Look at him. He looks so spooky looking. He's also got, one eye missing. I like the asymmetry, because Sonic characters are typically symmetrical. It's nice to have one that's not, kind of a little unsettling. He does struggle to stand, because he's got this heavy amount of hair on the back of his head, but he's also got this tail here as well, which is articulated. It can, rotate and stuff, but it does mean that he can't stand up straight. Yeah, he has to be in brooding position, which is okay, because he's Infinite. He's a very broody guy, he's all like, I'm not weak. He's got, the hand shape as well. It's just very, very Infinite. He's got the Phantom Ruby on his chest as well, and that's been nicely painted. His shoes have been done really, really well. And yeah, you can get him in this cool pose like he's activating the Phantom Ruby's power. Yeah, the Infinite is a sick design. It needs to be appreciated how cool Infinite looked in Sonic Forces, and I really hope we haven't seen the last of him. He's got his little Infinite tushy there. I'm hoping that we'll get to see Infinite in a really banger Sonic game someday, maybe in the open zone formula that's been established by Sonic Frontiers. It would be good to get Infinite back, maybe have him meet Sage. I don't know, I remember when we all thought, or maybe I thought, Sage and Infinite were going to be related, because oh no, all the Phantom Ruby's gone. I remember when we thought that Infinite and Sage were going to be related because they were quite similar in terms of design, at least color scheme anyway. But it wasn't meant to be. I hope we haven't seen the last of Infinite, and maybe if these toy sales are anything to go by, maybe we'll be in luck, because apparently these things have been selling like hotcakes. The guy behind the desk of the entertainer made sure to let me know. And he's a cool dude, shout out to the guy. So yeah, that wraps it up for the modern Sonic figures. No, I'm lying. It's a bit of a detour, but oh god, he's that big, huh? Angle the camera up. There we go. We have the Toy Island Sonic X Big the Cat here. Now, this was a gift to me from my good pal Dominic, aka Who Chaser on YouTube. He makes great Doctor Who content. Be sure to check him out. And these are a very different sort of toy to the Jakk specific one. You can see kind of where they're a little more antiquated with how many screws they've got on the back. He's a little dusty, sorry, I need to fix that. And yeah, they're not prioritizing articulation in the same way that Jakk's are. But to be fair, Big here actually scales up okay with the Jakk specific ones. He's got, for some reason, he's got all of his pinky fingers out. Maybe he's gonna stick his pinky fingy up Froggy's ass. Speaking of which, we do have Froggy, where shall I put it? Fuck it. We have Froggy, look, go over there. Ah, okay, yeah, he's on screen. We have Froggy right here, and he's very nicely done. He looks about right, that's what Froggy looks like. Don't have much to say about it, but he's a tailed frog. Very unique. I like it. He's great. And that's not all. He's missing his defining features, but we also have a Tails here, and again, he's very pre-posed. What are his legs doing coming out of the sides of his tush? But he's he's pre-posed in that sort of very noodly sort of look. He does not scale with the Jakk specific figures. He's a giant, but he is missing his main feature, which I guess you could have wound up going by how ratchety this sounds. But still, he's a good little figure. God, his head, the back of his head's weird. He's a good addition to the collection. I'm very happy to have him, but I will have to probably get a modern Tails figure at some point.
I'm hanging on to the other side.
You thought we were done. We're not done. We've got a few new movie toys to look at. Now, I have done a video on movie toys before, so I won't be showing off those that I already have. Also, for the fact that they're not with me at this apartment, they are in my storage place. But here we do have Super Sonic from Sonic the Hedgehog 2. And I love this design for Super Sonic. How textured these movie figures are. They really nailed the look. I like their mouths as well. Now, the movie toys are a little bit more articulated than the game ones in that they have elbow articulation, and they can rotate at the elbows too. Everything else that, we've come to expect is here. You've got ball-jointed feet, you've got ball-jointed hands, although a little more limited. And because of the, slightly more reasonable proportions of the movie Sonic designs, they do stand up a little easier, I guess. Their feet are a little smaller, so I guess that's the trade-off. Okay, alright, we're having a little trouble there. But they've represented his Pumas really nicely. Detail so good, I want a Puma pants. Sorry, I haven't had that one in the head bank for a long time. I really wanted to use it, but I feel like this just wasn't the right time. And like movie Sonic, he's got that extra quill in there, and the extra little nub in there, which the modern one doesn't. Now, one thing I will say is that the tanned part of his fur does get a little lost in the yellow here, but I don't mind that. I don't know how you'd better represent that. I suppose you could have like a little groove in there to kind of separate his chest patch from the rest of his body, but they have got the nice red eyes here, and yeah, they brought him to life really well. This is about as good of a Supersonic figure as you're going to get. And if you can believe it, we are still not done. We have MAGA Hat Sonic. Okay, it's not a MAGA hat, but we have Sonic in a baseball hat with a baseball mitt, and this came in a 3-pack with 2 other Sonics, which I will show, but for now we're just looking at baseball Sonic with his bulletproof vest, and he's got all the articulation of the previous one. It's complete with his elbows, but I haven't really bent them before, so they're a little stiff, but they are there. The head sculpt appears to be a new one, because obviously he got the hat on it, but also his eyes look a little fiercey. He's got a bit more of a grimace on his face than the standard Sonic-y figure. But it is cool that even with this gimmick figure, they did go as hard as they did on articulation. You can put his hand inside the mitt. That's awesome. That's great. Again, Jakk Specific and their attention to detail and their focus on articulation really shine through here. And just even down to like the texture on his little baseball vest here. And even on the hat, you've got these little creases and stuff. It's so much better than it has any obligation to be. But that's enough for him. We're gonna look at one of the others now. Let's take a look at Jesus Sonic, or MC Sonic, or the Sonic House Party Sonic, with his bling chain, his shades, which I don't know if they are translucent. No, they appear to be completely solid black. But again, yeah, articulation all the same as on the other ones. He's got this nice flowy, what's this called, a toga? I don't know. He's got this tie around his head, which I really like. I think the only thing here is in the movie when he had this look, he had a mohawk, and they haven't represented that here. But I'm not exactly complaining. I think this is an awesome variant, and I'm having some trouble standing him. But yeah, I think this is a really cool variant. I love this little 3-pack of different Sonics. They've really captured movie Sonic's character here. He's great. Next up, we have Kyle Broflovsky Sonic from South Park. So this is when he would have gone to the Siberian restaurant or lodge or motel or whatever. Now, this one is the least articulated of the set, naturally, because in this big puffy jacket and trousers, yet it still manages to somehow surprise me in the articulation department, because what's this? His legs bend. They don't need to bend, but they do. That's like such an unnecessary bit of articulation, but I appreciate it so much. Now, his arms are a little restricted here by, again, this big puffy jacket, but at the same time, like, you know, I wouldn't have it any other way. The head, though, that's very restricted. This little scarf here restricts that. He's got a different facial expression. He's got this very innocent sort of butter wouldn't melt in his mouth look. They've captured that very sort of cute look of the movie Sonic, and I like how his quills are bunched at the back here. There's a nice texture on this jacket, which gives it this nice sort of chamois leathery look. Ball-jointed hands again. Even, I think, ball-jointed feet? No, they don't move. Maybe they're supposed to, but they're just very restricted. I don't know. But, yeah, we don't have one of these for tails, though, you know? It'd be really cool if we could get the Siberian Motel Tales toy with this. But hey, this little 3-pack here, I got it from Target while I was out in America. I wasn't going to pass up an opportunity to get these boys because I just think this little set here is fantastic. Just look at them. Again, really captured that movie Sonic personality in these figures here. All facets of it. Alright, I swear, one more and we're done. One more. Okay, this is a McDonald's toy. This is not Jakk specific. This is whoever manufactures the McDonald's toys, I guess, from 1993. So this would have been in the Sonic 3 Happy Meal toy. And this was a gift from Nick, game apologist, when I went out to America. He gave me this. I think he's got another one in his game room somewhere. But I think the reason he gave me this is not just because he's got a spare. It's because he knows that my favorite Robotnik is Long John Baldry. And if you're wondering who that is, that's the Robotnik from Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. He was also a fantastic singer. But yeah, he played Robotnik in Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, and it had a very specific version of Dr. Robotnik. This is the Pingus Robotnik, okay? So if you don't know who he was based on what I was saying before, you know who he is now. He must have originally had a wind-up function, but it doesn't work anymore, but that's fine by me. I'm just happy to have Pingus Robotnik on my shelf, and for a McDonald's toy, he's fairly detailed. Like, you've got the sort of piping in here on his little red jacket. No gold paint on there, but I love this fat fuck's face. He just has this grimace, you know? Which is funny, because it's McDonald's. He's even got this little jet flame coming out the back. Yeah, you gotta love Robotnik. I would love it if Jakk Specific would get to release, like, an Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog or Dick Cartoons wave of Sonic figures. But I think Sega are very stingy on what you can and can't adapt from Sonic history, which sucks because a Pingus Robotnik action figure would be pride of place on my shelf. But we at least have McDonald's, Burger King. What the fuck am I saying? We have McDonald's Robotnik. That's what I meant to say. Okay, so before we go, I did want to show off some of the accessories that do come with these figures. So on the left here, we've got the Master Emerald from the Sonic 2 movie, which would have come with Super Sonic. And it's a little taller than this regular Chaos Emerald, which came with... I don't know who. I don't know who this came with. I think it would have been Sonic, but I'm not sure who that came with. What I can safely say is that the Phantom Ruby here, which is basically life-size, came with Infinite, and it's nicely done. I don't see any swirly paint in there, but I'm not sure how you'd ever achieve that anyway. But it's a nice replica sort of Phantom Ruby thing going on. This Master Emerald here is the one from the games, and what I like about it is it's kind of like a life-size Chaos Emerald, you know? First thing I did when I popped the regular Chaos Zero figure out of the... That is a really cool shadow. Out of the packaging was I went into the room where my buddy Dom was, and I just held it up. I was like, it all starts with this. A jewel containing the ultimate power. It feels like I've got my own little Chaos Emerald, you know? I think that's cool. That's awesome. That's badass, Alfred. And then, yeah, we've got these little bits which are like level scenery. You've got this checkpoint star post, which I think is quite good. It's got flicking action. You can flick it. And then you would be able to go into special stage. You've got this spring here, and you can press down on it. It does have a spring in there. And an Eggman spring, which also has a bit of a spring load in there. I don't know where you'd put these. I think they do sell like play sets of like Green Hill Zone and Flying Battery, but I don't have any of those. I think they're meant for that. But still, it's cool that you get these little bits of scenery. I'm gonna do the gems. Yeah. Some of them come with rings and stuff as well. I've got some rings somewhere and a red ring. But I don't want to dredge those up right now. I don't want to put in the effort, you know? Who would do that? But hang on. The Sands of Time.
So what do you guys think of the Sonic toys? Comment below, discuss which ones do you have, which ones do you want the most, and which ones do you hope they'll release in the future. And as always, if you've enjoyed this video and you want to support more like it, join the PUP program by hitting the subscribe button, hit the like button, and and in the description below is a link to my Patreon. Support is hugely appreciated, and for as little as $1 a month, you can get your name in the credits of these videos. A special shout out goes to the patrons in the $10 tier. Their names are Sharif, Dare Danny, Kale Bennett, That Jordo, Ken K, Legendary Ray Ray, Dr. SP here. If I owned a water park, I'd name it Hydrosity just to make sure people pronounce it right. Sergio, Saurus the Skeptic, and did you know the skin on your elbow is called a weenus? And now for a less special shout out for the $5 tier. We got SSS06, Dazzle Fizzle, and Council of Geeks. Thank you to you folks for your generosity. It really does mean a lot, and thank you to you watching at home. Have a great day.